Welcome to HomeKit 5. I'm Josh.
I'm Brayden.
This week we're going to talk about Denon, Apple, Wemo, Apple, and Roku. Double Apple. What? All right, let's dive into the show. So Denon has released an update for their soundbar 550, which includes AirPlay 2. I don't think it includes HomeKit directly from what we can tell, but it does seem to support AirPlay 2. Mm-hmm. And the bar comes in at $599, so I do think it's kind of interesting that they're releasing this, but I think, I don't want to dive too much into it, but I think we have maybe there's a different option that we're going to talk about later in the show that might be more interesting for people. So, it's, I don't know, I guess if you're in the Denon ecosystem and you really like HeOS or whatever it's called, then I could see this being interesting for you, but, I don't know. So it's kind of cool. We're seeing more and more sound bars that have streaming functionality in them, and I do think that's interesting, and I like that trend. So
yeah, especially with the AirPlay 2 stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so Apple, as we all know, they had their event last week, a week from today when this comes out.
Yeah, I don't know.
A week
doesn't
from,
matter.
I guess it really doesn't matter. But yeah, they unveiled their new Apple TV 4K, which they did not say this during the keynote, but it was later found out through their website that it has Thread support, which is very nice to see another Apple HomeKit hub with Thread.
Yeah, for sure, right? We previously only had the HomePod Mini. That doesn't even have an Ethernet port on it. I'm super excited for this because we can hardwire in, it's got gigabit Ethernet. We can hardwire that in and have a Thread router that exists on the network that is hardwired into the rest of our network. So I think that's kind of cool and exciting. It came with some other bumps as well, right? It's got 802.11ax, so it's got the Wi-Fi 6 in there, the A12 Bionic chip. Bionic. I don't know. That's so weird. I do find it interesting they didn't take it further than the A12, right? You have the A14 now, so you could have gone there. I wonder why they didn't. Maybe it's just you had a plethora of leftover A12 chips from that era of phone. I don't even remember which phone that was in.
That was the 10S.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's still an upgrade because the last one, it had the same processor as the iPhone 7. So, definitely a bump, but I think it could have used with more of a bump.
Yeah. I do think the one thing that I also found interesting is the new remote, which is backwards compatible. So I think you can go buy just a remote if you want to switch out for your TV. But they moved the Siri button to the side, right? So the voice command buttons on the side, just like the phone now. So I think they're trying to get people into the habit of you hit it with your thumb on the side, and then you can activate Siri and give commands and whatnot. So
yes, I think that can also maybe eliminate the accidental press of the Siri button, because sometimes when I'm trying to go back to the home screen, I'll hit the Siri button and
yeah,
it's kind of annoying. But
or maybe it will increase it because people will actually hit the side. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll get it in our hands and we'll let you know. We're definitely going to order one when it comes out. It'll be available April 30th for ordering and should ship sometime mid-May, they said. And they still offer two versions, the 32 and the 64 gigabyte, and tops out at $199 there.
Yeah, starts at $179.
Yeah. Wemo has shipped something. I'm kind of interested in this. We're going to try to pick one up this weekend if we can, off of Belkin's website. It wasn't available on Amazon yet, but they have their new wireless scene controller. I know it's a Switch technically, but I mean it's got the 3 buttons on it, and it comes with a backing plate, and it's magnetic, so it'll like suction in, so you can pull the remote out if you want and use it anywhere. But then it has a place it can go, which is kind of cool. But the buttons tie back to HomeKit Scenes, so and this is like an exclusive HomeKit item that you can buy. It does have Bluetooth 5 in it. It does have an NFC tag, so when you bring it near, it'll like offer to set it up on your phone. And they're saying it's thread ready. I don't exactly know what that means. Like, why not just say thread? I guess you can't say thread enabled, but it's a weird way to say it. Like, I'm giving air quotes here if you're not watching on YouTube. Like, I think they're saying that they'll offer thread support down the road via a firmware update. But I don't know. Like, we've been burnt before by buying things that they claim are gonna have a firmware update, and then like it's never forthcoming. Like, I'm looking at you, Yuffie, with your doorbell, or I mean, ask anyone about the Ring, right? That's a funny one. But anyway, I do think it sounds like the thread chip is in there. They just need to like probably get the firmware set up to support the thing correctly. But yeah, I don't know. Like, this is interesting to me, and I think it comes in at $49.99. Yeah.
So not too bad for what it is. Yeah.
What would be really kind of cool is if it gets exposed as an accessory and we can set the clicks to anything else. I kind of suspect though that maybe you have to go into
the Wemo
app to maybe set things up. I don't know. I'm very interested to get my hands on this thing and play around with it. And I think I've got a perfect spot for it too. So 1 or 2 spots for these things.
Yeah. Speaking of perfect spots, Apple has introduced their AirTag. Finally, after almost 2 years of waiting?
Yeah, I feel like we've been waiting 2 years on this thing. Like, what?
Yeah.
Come on, Apple. And I mean, we talked about it like a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the Chipolo, and it's like, how did Chipolo beat them to the punchline on this thing?
I think I can now understand why they might have waited a little bit, because when did the 11 come out? That was
it was a while ago. Yeah.
So like with
been
the
at
U1
least 18
chip,
months.
like I can kind of understand that, like, but
what are you understanding?
I'm understanding like why it could have been delayed is with maybe waiting for the U1 chip to be more
ubiquitous.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like,
I kind of suspect though that it was more like privacy concerns, right? Because like we said, it's a El Cheapo, like super high powered spying device essentially, right? Like if I just drop one in your pocket somehow and you start walking around with it, like I'm always going to know where you're at. It's like a GPS tracker on you at all times.
Yes. And speaking of that, the way that Apple has set it up is that you can, when you bring it near an iOS device using iOS 14.5, it will automatically ask you to set it up, and it will not let you use an Apple ID that's not logged in. So it will use the credentials and stuff from your device that you're logged in as.
Right.
And when you're not traveling with the AirTag, it will send like a notification to others around you, around the AirTag, that they have somebody else's thing. So like it's really hard to like do what you said, like use it as a tracker.
I think that's an option you can set though in 14.5 is like alert me when other tags are near me that aren't my tag. You know, and I don't like I'm super interested to like just play around with the logistics of this thing and see what it looks like too, because a number of people pointed out like one of their biggest use cases is like putting this on a piece of luggage, so that they can quickly find their luggage at the airport. But then like what does that mean? Like, if you're a baggage handler, and you have an iPhone, like an iPhone 11, is that thing just going to be going off all day? Like, someone might be spying on you. Someone might be spying on you.
Yeah.
Or like you have an airplane full of people and the AirTags are down below you in the belly of the airplane. Like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to play around with this thing.
I think the airplane full of people, I think that could be negated, because I think the way it works is if the person who owns the AirTag is also traveling with the AirTag, then it doesn't really alert anybody else.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
We tried to think through like the HomeKit implications of this, and I definitely think it could be interesting to maybe play around with some automations around this.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not a ton, like Apple doesn't release, or they don't have any kind of like triggers for like precision location stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we also we know the U1 chip is in the HomePod Mini, but not necessarily, like, it didn't look like they added a U1 chip to the Apple TV,
yeah.
which does feel a little bit like a miss to me. I mean, I probably would have paid a little bit more for you to go ahead and put the U1 chip in the remote and the Apple TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that could have been interesting.
I think definitely in the remote, because then you can like use your phone to find it.
Yeah. But, you know, they haven't exposed a lot of like locational, like present stuff into HomeKit other than like people arrive and leave, right? And that's like not super precise. It is trying to use GPS, I think, to tell a lot of that, but you know, I think there are other things they could expose, right? Like, when someone joins someone who's in the family, their phone joins my network, like that could be a nice presence detection.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, when the keys, I don't know, get near, I don't even know where you'd put the automation on this.
Okay, so I think one thing, maybe you have like when the keys get near the door,
yeah,
like if you have a smart door lock, then it'll unlock the door, so you don't even have to like move your keys and take them out of your pocket to unlock it. Like, it just...
But some things do that, right? Like the level lock,
mm-hmm.
you can have it use your location and auto unlock for you. So I don't know, like, and Apple like is very specific about your phone needs to be unlocked, and they generally don't allow you to just straight automate a lock to unlock. So, you know, I don't know. It would be kind of cool, you know, as we get like more U1 stuff out there, if you could say, I don't know, man. It's so weird. Like, yes, absolutely. I think I want presence-based detection, like locational presence detection. But then I don't know, like, what would I do with it? And like, how's that different than just putting a motion detector? I mean, maybe I know it's you instead of knowing it's the dog walking around the house. Like, I don't know. I lack imagination, maybe. Anyway, we thought we're very stoked about AirTags. We've ordered a 4-pack, and we're definitely going to be playing around with them. So, Roku has revealed that they are coming out with new streaming boxes that will have AirPlay and HomeKit support, which I think is kind of a cool place to be. Versus, you know, we were talking about Denon earlier. They're not exposing to HomeKit. Roku is. And so they have the StreamBar Pro and an Express 4K. I think they come in at like phenomenal price ranges. They're both 4K streaming boxes. They have HDR10 plus support, right? So you get the HDR. It doesn't say Dolby Vision, so I'll be curious to see what happens there. I mean, HDR10 plus is kind of the same thing, I guess. But the price points these things come in at are phenomenal.
Cow. Yeah, I was just looking at
$179 and $39. So the soundbar is $179, and the solo streaming box is $39.99. They come with a little remote. It's going to have it'll actually support the Apple TV Plus as a streaming channel, and they have a dedicated button for that thing. So I definitely think this is kind of cool and interesting to see. And it kind of gives us an inkling of what might be to come with Apple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they discontinued that HomePod, and I still suspect that we're gonna see an Apple device that is a soundbar
Mm-hmm.
that has the Apple TV built into it, and acts as almost like a hybrid Apple TV HomePod.
Mm-hmm.
With the U1 chip, right? For sure, that would be interesting. And it just straight works with the Apple TV remote.
Yeah.
But I think this is a great option. I mean, for $179.99, you're getting something that's similar to an Apple TV. Doesn't have Thread in it, but it is the speaker. You could hook it up to your TV, have all the streaming channels you want.
Mm-hmm.
Good to go. It's a great price point. I think Roku really nailed it with this one, especially with AirPlay and HomeKit compatibility.
Yep. One thing I was going to touch on was just Roku in general with their remote. Like, I was just thinking, like, oh, that'd be interesting to have that with an Apple TV remote. And then I remembered, oh, wait, you can just do that with your AirPods. You can just, have your AirPods connected to your Apple TV.
Oh, you're talking about the
with the
headphones coming out of the side. Yeah. So if you haven't seen it before, I think all the Roku remotes have a headphone jack, so you can listen through the headphone port, which is interesting. But yeah, absolutely. Like, the AirPods allow you to do that with the Apple TV, which is a nice feature.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we had this week. We did miss last week. Brayden was moving to a new house, semi-smart home house.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. I think he might play around with Homebridge. Yeah. And yeah, I think we're going to maybe tweak our schedule a little bit. So we were releasing, videos on Sunday, like review videos on Sunday. Podcast video on Monday. I think we're going to do review videos on Saturdays, and we'll start doing podcast episodes. We'll release on Tuesday. Probably Tuesday. Maybe we'll do Tuesday morning and go back to that morning schedule and see what that looks like. We'll have to look around at some analytics. But do know that we will be shifting our schedule slightly as we start to play around with things. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we will see you guys in the next episode.